power meta ranking again. Oh my god, he's actually doing this again. Why is he doing this? Why can't you just steal do this content? Show mounts, you know? Show the cosmetics. Don't do fucking power meta rankings. We know you don't know how to do them. You know what? Fucking Savage has not cleared Savage tier. Cool, neat. That's fucking lovely. When was the last time he actually cleared content? If he's on his 5th kill, like, I'm not sure what he's been doing since July. September, October, November. He did a bit of raiding, I guess, during autumn, but I guess he gave up. Okay, cool, neat. Trials. Hasn't cleared anything. Neato, Unreal. Hasn't cleared it. Dungeons. I'm even afraid to fucking... What the fuck? Alliance Raid Chaotic. Fucking Neato. Alliance Raid Normal? Yo, he's done it at least twice. At least twice he's done it. Okay, he's still in the game, guys. Criterion Legacy? No. Delibrum Regini? No. Ultimates Legacy. Like, he still is not doing any content. So, wait, okay, wait, hold on. I can see that not all his jobs are even level 100. What is he basing the power meta rankings off of? Is what I want to know. Okay, he has tanks. He has 2 healers. 2 fizz ranges. He has all casters except for Blue Mage. He hasn't even touched Blue Mage, holy shit. He has crafters. Okay, good. He's a craftist. Not a gatherer, though. Fisher's 4. Dude, what the fuck are you doing? Wait, hold on. What the fuck are you doing with fish, man? Okay, whatever. Too much. But it's like, still, it's like, you're not really doing anything in the game. Why are you... Okay. Oh, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole. Let's check what the fuck his power meta rankings are. Okay, so, we're just gonna check what the fuck his power rankings are. Ah, loud. Let's check what the fuck these power rankings are. Because last time I reacted to his power rankings, they made no sense. Like, the Scholar is this tier because it also levels Summoner. Ooh! Like, the most weirdest reasons. Alright, let's check.
Greetings and welcome to another tier list in Dawntrail, this time talking primarily about the power values of all jobs after the 7.1 job changes, but also how their performance changed during the gearing phase up until 730 item level. And we might also talk a bit about how they will...
Wait, how their value changed up to 730? Wait, what?
Jobs after the 7.1 job changes, but also how their performance changed during the gearing phase up until 730 item level.
Uh-huh.
And we might also talk a bit about how they will perform in the new Ultimate Eden raid. But like always...
How they will perform. I don't think Despairs is the person to figure out how a job will perform in an Ultimate raid. Sure.
Always though, take this with a grain of salt and never choose jobs for their meta performance alone. If you don't enjoy the job you're playing, there's no reason to choose the best one. Especially as playing the job you feel connected to mostly results in better performance with it, and each job is measured within its job pool.
That's not entirely true. That's not entirely true, but that's a completely different conversation and a rant for another day.
Alright, starting on a kinda high note with the Dark Knight. I know that many players still want it to be reworked or overhauled at least, but nonetheless this tanking job is among the winners of this patch.
I thought people were very fucking happy. Who wants them overhauled? Dawntrail, maybe not as much because they lost damage on their gap closer, but I'm pretty sure people are still happy with Dark Knight doing like Omega damage and being like dancer priority on openers.
Not only did they buff it closer towards the Gunbreaker, or made it the most powerful among all of them when looking at peak value.
Okay, are we talking about DPS again? Is this what we're talking about, right? Yeah.
Is an ADPS, which most people consider to be the value you should be looking at on tanks.
No. Wait, what the fuck? What? Not again. Okay, okay. For sake of argument, let's say we're looking at 8 DPS on tanks. Fucking okay, whatever. Because we have two. Okay, no, I'm actually going to talk about this. We have two separate tanks that could be specifically measured by 8 DPS. Paladin and Warrior function a lot better through our DPS, depending how much they contribute into damage windows. Because they both have like 1 minute. Requus got 1 minute, Inner Release 1 minute. They have 1 minute burst. That's their entire rotation. They do big damaggio every 1 minute. So they work either off of maybe even C DPS, but like our DPS would be where you're looking at Paladin and Warrior. A DPS is where you're looking for Dark Knight and Gunbreaker. So like, the grand majority of people, Xeno included, aren't happy with Dark Knight due to its considerably low sustain. Who gives a fuck about the sustain? Like, I've talked about this before. I understand that all tanks have Omega sustain compared to Dark Knight, but Dark Knight does like nutty shit. Shit that's nuttier than squirrel shit. I shit you not. Like, anyone who remembers Hegemony, or like the tree boss from Asphodelos, right? The stack tank buster can be taken solo by the Dark Knight. Unless they get a damage down, all the tank busters can be just soloed by them. They're giga tanky. Okay, let's say you're an inexperienced tank and you just want to play Dark Knight, but you just don't get enough sustain. Sure, you don't want to play with the healer. Sure, you're antisocial. Fuck it, why not? Like, any reasons you find to play Dark Knight solo, like, they can still tank the fuck out of, like, packs and bosses in dungeons without a healer. Like, I've seen people do the most atrocious shit on these tanks. The nuttiest shit. So just saying they're bad because they don't have a sustain, I kind of see it. They could use a bit more sustain for like long fights. Let's say like 10-minute fights in Savage, but you also got a healer in those fights. But let's say you really want to be a cool tank in dungeons and you don't want the healer to feel useful. Sure, why not? Maybe a bit more sustain. Sure, why the fuck not? But they're too fucking strong. They're too fucking strong. They are S-rank tanks for me. Because they're so fucking easy to heal. Specifically because they can tank atrocious shit. Atrocious shit. Like, legit, I've seen them do shit that shouldn't be legal. And the amount of damage they do as well. Shit, I'm sorry you don't have sustain. But the boss is almost dead.
They also buffed its defensive power significantly this time. Carve and Spit's healing is neglectable, but Dark Mind and Missionary having a non-magical mitigation now is simply awesome. Yes, it might not be perfect, but it's much stronger than before and feels very good in dungeon, and could even go nicely with ultimates as they tend to have lots of magical damage. So rising
Tend to, I guess, yeah.
up on A.
What the fuck? You didn't say any bad things about it though. Why is it on A?
Other tanks are still A+, because Gunbreaker even got a buff on its Super Bolide, but apart from that, nothing really changed that much.
It didn't get a buff on Super Bolide, it got a crutch. it just got a crutch, just because some people are shit at it. Like, I cannot explain this change in any other way other than people felt bad for people messing up the Super Bolide. People healing before Super Bolide, you know, or having to heal after Super Bolide. I get that. But as an invul, it's fine. Cooldown's fine. You don't take any damage, doesn't matter if you're 1 HP or 50% HP. It's like, it's fine. Like, they have fuck ton of healing ability now. Their conundrum is a fucking Excog.
Warrior still plays the easy mode of this game and can adjust to basically every form of rotational change while pushing out record-worthy self-sustained mitigation. The Paladin shining with every pixel of its existence, but in particular with its ranged capabilities during its rotation.
Really? That's why you think? Okay, Chad. Just to explain specifically for people who aren't fucking stupid. The joy of playing Paladin is AoE. Not the range rotation. The range rotation, sure, it's neat. You don't have to have uptime as much. But as a tank, you're supposed to be on the fucking boss 90% of the time. I get sometimes disconnecting is kind of fun. But The beauty of Paladin in Dungeons Criterion is that it can do fuck ton of AoE. Fuck ton of AoE. Every minute Requiescat combo does nutty shit of AoE. Self-sustain, block procs are also fucking broken sometimes, especially now that they are can also be procced by magic spells. They're very tanky, and they do a lot of AoE damage. It's the charm of them is not the range rotation.
And
It's comfortable, but it's not the charm of the job.
Gunbreaker can basically accomplish all the same traits, but with more DPS than the other two, and the reduction on cartridge.
So he's literally basing everything off of FF logs. Am I getting this right? This is so stupid then.
Cost for Double Down really granted it another buff to its power output. Maybe inside the details lacking some of the supporting aspects the others bring to their co-tank. In general, I would say it's quite balanced on the tanking department, but due to the differences on how to utilize the usefulness of each tank's kit, the other three take a mild advantage on A+. Coming to melee.
What? Okay. Wait, what? Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you a solo player? Is this what's happening? I get that Despairs doesn't fucking play with anyone. But what? This is so stupid. Wait. So because they have a bit more sustain than Dark Knight, they're above him. The point of... Okay. I like that he literally just like... He put Dark Knight in A and everyone else in A+ because of just like a couple of factors that are like very just like they're not even niche. They're just like they're just a bit of like flavor and comfort for a job. But like a good fucking player is gonna be like way better than all these three tanks on a Dark Knight. Dark Knight can do nutty shit. Dark Knight can tank such heavy fucking hits. Dark Knight can do so much fucking damage. Both ADPS and RDPS should be fucking top for Dark Knight. What is this Whatever.
Where I could have never assumed that the changes to Nastron and Mirage Dive actually take a big impact on Dragoon's DPS output. Or it could just be stat scaling, who knows. I mean, it's sandwiched perfectly between Black Mage and Pictomancer now.
The one and only complaint you'll consistently hear about Dark Knight is the lack of sustain. I get that. But who gives a fuck about sustain if you live long enough to kill shit? If we're talking about dungeons and you just want to solo dungeons, sure, I get that. You want something with sustain because Dark Knights cannot really survive without a healer. If you're a shit Dark Knight. If you're a shit Dark Knight. But like the most important content, believe it or fucking not, is going to be raids. Ultimate raids, normal raids, hell, even Criterion raids. Why the fuck not? Let's say Criterion also counts, because you keep getting autoed. Like... but like... Sorry, not Criterion, Chaotic. But otherwise, it's like, if we're specifically running off of sustain, then it's just like, it's just a dungeon ranking. It's not power meta ranking. Because I promise you, Dark Knight is the meta. Like, I can prove this by also going on FF logs and not being a fucking moron. So, we're obviously looking at 95 percentile. He is obviously looking at all percentile, which is understandable. I'm guessing this is what he fucking sets it off of. But you're gonna have to look at the top fucking 10%. I'm sorry. If you want specifically the power and meta rankings, you need to look at the players who know how to fucking play their job. So we're looking at... Where the fuck are the percentiles? So we would be looking at least like the top 10%. 90%. 90th percentile. Right? They're all fairly close. Ah, right. He was looking at ADPS. You're right. So Gunbreaker and Dark Knight should be top then. 95. They're still gonna be the meta. What about Max? Dark Knight, Gunbreaker. If we're specifically talking about metas, we're gonna have to look at people who play the fucking job perfectly. We're not gonna give a shit about all the percentiles. If we're looking at meta. Otherwise, this does not fucking matter if you're looking at all percentiles. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. I get that little Timmy wants to feel special while parsing green. I get that. But if you want a good idea about your class, like, this does not represent you as a player, let's be honest. But if you are looking at a proper representation of your job and you want to know the capabilities of that job, you're looking at the max percentile, not fucking all of it. Because little Timmy green parsing on bar doesn't fucking matter.
Now, even on unoptimized scenarios where spear throwing is a discipline again, the Dragoon comes back into play now. And while I still feel some of its competition has access to better defensives, none of them are really a deciding factor at any point. But it's truly funny how Dragoon and Ninja landed on the short end of the melee roster last time, but now keep coming back to A+, where a contributing factor might be the rework of Tenchi Jin, because granting high-performing players more flexibility to use it now. Whatever it is, they
high-performing players actually shine because they would be able to plan the rotation. Wait, hold on. He barely said anything about Ninja, but the fact that you can actually move while under the effects of Tenchi Jin is what makes players good? Because the point of Tenchi Jin, like, you have a good 6-7 GCDs under Mug and Trick Attack that you need to put in. Good fucking players, they're not gonna move under Tenchi Jin, they're gonna plan when they're gonna use Tenchi Jin within the damage window. Like, I swear, like, it's the spares. We've done this before. You really need to level up those jobs and actually play them. You really need to play the fucking game, man. You can. Let's be honest. You're not that stupid. I get it. You're busy watching Sailor Moon cartoons. I get that from the fucking plushie over there. But, like, can we just, like, please, finish leveling all your jobs. Don't stop looking at FF logs the wrong fucking... Hell, DM me. DM me. Goldknyfe on Discord. Fucking DM me. You don't need to even credit me, but fucking ask me how to look up fucking proper stats on FF logs. We can't keep doing this fucking dance as despairs. You don't even want to steal fucking content from, like, actual Discords where this information can be properly presented. Just DM me. I'll fucking steal it for you. But let's start making actually more coherent and correct content. This is not a reason to rank something higher.
Pack a real punch, and Reaper and Monk are getting some serious competition. To be fair though, I would still place them in the same category because of the defensive advantage Monk and Reaper have for the group.
Sorry, what did he say, Mug?
To be fair though, I would still place them in the same category because of the defensive advantage Monk and Reaper have for the group. Interestingly...
You know, someone is like, just says shit for the sake of saying shit. They have a spell, that means it's useful. If he's gonna tell me that Black Mage is better than some, like, you know, than Summoner, because they have a bigger shield, or Summoner is better because he has 2 shields, or some other stupid backwards fucking reasoning, like, this is not gonna be a good video. Because he clearly doesn't play the fucking jobs. I know he doesn't play these jobs because he hasn't fucking leveled most of them. Okay, maybe the casters and physical range. I'm waiting on these. I'm a physical range this tier. I'm waiting for this. Same for healers. I will fucking eat him if he says it wrong, right? But, like, he's currently, like, putting all the melees in one fucking rank because he doesn't play any of them. Zero fucking understanding. Because they have defensives. Fucking great, I guess. Tenchi lets you move. Fucking let's go. I'm not aware of, like, the monk changes, but it's like the reasoning is here is still stupid because these classes have defensives. They're in this rank. Fucking monk has Omega mobility right now that he can use between fucking GCDs. I've seen monks do like crazy shit back in Asphodelos even. Where they, like, keep DPSing, just dodge between fucking AoEs happening and go back to the boss DPSing without losing a single GCD. Like, monks can be, like, rewarded a good rank for literally any other reasons. Also, why the fuck are we looking at FF logs, but still ranking jobs for really obnoxious reasons?
Viper hasn't got any changes, but still falls back in its maximum performance a bit. Especially compared to last time, Samurai gets even hit harder. Of course there have been changes to Samurai as well, but I believe the main actor to be the crit scaling on gear. The more crit variance a job is having, the more it scales with higher stats or buffs like Battle Litany, which could explain the increased RDPS of Dragoon, at least when looking at the absolute top performers of each.
Are we actually looking at RDPS now? I like that he's not even looking like at specific jobs, he's looking at everything and again in all percentile. Let me hear this again, just so I'm sure whether or not he...
When looking at the absolute top performers of each job. And my latest tier list came out just 2 weeks after.
All percentile.
With higher stats.
Hold on.
So we're still talking like Battle Litany, which could explain the increased RDPS of Dragoon, at least when looking at the absolute top performers of each job.
RDPS. All percentile. Oh, fuck me. I think he's just lazy at this point. I think he's just literally farming whatever the fuck is left of his channel. He either steals or tries to just send like just the most random shit. I remember he was like comparing casual gear to savage gear, and he only showed the opener. And even in the opener, there was like a difference of like 600 DPS. And he says, see, it's not that bad. You can still kick ass with casual gear. And a normal fucking raider will tell him that he's fucking stupid. Because A, 600 DPS over a 10 to 11 minute fight is a big fucking difference. Especially after opener. Whatever.
And my latest tier list came out just 2 weeks after Savage, so we're still talking about 710 to 712 item level, where now 730 brings a lot more crit and D hit to the table. However, their ADPS performance, which I always like to take into account due to the fact that you can always end up in a party.
Again, you're checking all percentiles. It doesn't fucking matter. All percentiles doesn't fucking matter. Check the highest ranking. Like
where you have to flex your muscles to push against the enrage encounter, and when you can't rely on party DPS a lot.
I swear to God, if we're gonna get to physical range and he's gonna be checking Dancer and Bard on fucking ADPS, I can officially diagnose despairs.
Which is where high ADPS performances always shine. I know, many people will disagree on that move, but I would dare to create a sensation on this tier list and grant all melee jobs the A+ spot.
Fuck off. Fine.
Technically, you can put all others than Dragoon and Ninja down to A as well, but I guess one must make hay while the sun shines. And it's getting rainy soon.
Wait, hold on. Was he planning to put literally... Whatever.
Like anyway, so let's take a look at ranged physical DPS jobs. Strangely, Bard and Dancer swap places in the form of Dancer now having higher AD.
He's looking at fucking ADPS for RDPS jobs. I fucking can't. What? This is actually driving me up the wall. Holy shit. I think he's literally making satire. Are we actually looking at ADPS for RTPS jobs? Holy shit, this actually made me mad. I don't usually take half the shit he says seriously, but this actually makes me mad. I'm playing physical range this fucking tier, and this is the shit I see.
It's getting rainy sooner as you like anyway, so let's take a look at ranged physical DPS jobs. Strangely, Bard and Dancer swap places in the form of Dancer now having higher ADPS and Bard taking over the top supporter role.
Okay, now he's looking at RDPS, so they swap places like that. Okay, I see. Cool. Top supporter role. Cool. Cool, guys. You heard that? Top supporter role in fucking all percentiles. Motherfucker.
I mean, sure, every time that there's a Bard in our party, which doesn't happen that often for me as Machinist player, but when it does, delicious numbers are hitting on the screen. Yet the bad news, the difference between this roster and the melee one is still too wide in my opinion.
Your opinion barely fucking matters here. I don't think you understand how important the value, for example, of a Bard is in a proper fucking comp. Like, just having a bit of increase 100% of the time from songs, doesn't matter if it's which song. The fact that they get a buff 100% of the time, and that you can have those buffs Like for example, 1% crit increase like during downtime in raids now, even when the boss disappears, because you don't need a target anymore to cast songs. That value is so like omega big. Don't think you understand how much value a good RDPS job can bring to a raid. Like machinist, believe it or not, machinist is nothing compared to a good fucking bard or a dancer. Dancer does a bit less than bard, but dancer brings really good fucking utility, more practical utility than bard, unfortunately. But like, machinist is just in such a stupid place. It doesn't do enough damage to compensate for the lack of RDPS, and it just doesn't do enough damage to be like to be picked as a sole DPS compared to other jobs. Like some compositions in raids will literally pick two casters rather than a ranged. They will literally pick the second range as a caster, then a physical range.
I mean, it's just an artificial gap that has no need to exist. It's about time to adjust these power levels for Team
What?
News. The difference between this roster and the melee one is still too wide in my opinion. I mean, it's just an artificial gap that has no need to exist. It's
Artificial gap. If this gap was artificial, people wouldn't be bringing physical range to begin with. I understand why the jobs aren't popular, because, holy shit, nobody wants to be the support class, right? There's a reason we're lacking tanks and healers, and because physical range are pretty much in the same position, we're seeing less and less of them. But there's a reason the hind comps will bring a physical range rather than a second caster. Like, it's not as artificial as you fucking think.
It's about time to adjust these power levels for Team Yoshida. However, if the ultimate Eden fight will have multiple enemies in its encounter design, that is where Bard shines brightly. Dancer too, and Pictomancer becomes a god.
On multi-targets? Are you fucking... what?
But before coming to the Grim Reaper of Dawntrail, let's talk about its victims in the form of machinists. But that's also kinda form of the past. I mean, to be fair, if you're playing at my semi-casual level doing your Savage Reclears, Alliance raids and some try-hard normal modes, you will get a very solid performance out of this job. Especially due to its high focus on ADPS, while still...
I like that the only job that he speaks from experience is the one that he mains, but he still barely clears any content. Like, you... just because you play the one job, it doesn't mean it needs a separate fucking segment, especially with your inexperience.
offering some
Like, I want to be fucking nice about this, I genuinely do, but it's like every time I see any of these videos, I don't know if he's trying on purpose to just be incompetent, or he just literally is just so disliked that nobody wants to give him advice, or he has nobody to consult. Increase machinist potencies by 100% in my opinion. Sure, honestly. Like, if you increase quite a few buttons by 100% potency, it's like, it might almost reach melee. But it's like... despair is seriously, it's like, if you need someone to actually tell you how to look through FF logs properly, or how to actually, you know, understand the meta rankings, then just DM me at this point, because holy shit. Because you cannot claim power and meta rankings and be this fucking incompetent when providing the information.
decent amount of defensive extras that only Machinist has access to, and on
Just because Machinist has a second defensive doesn't make it better. What the fuck? What about the other fucking job? They got extra buttons too.
top of that, the average Machinist parser still outperforms Summoner, Bard, and Dancer. So
I like that he's not even showing if this is RDPS or ADPS. He's not outperforming anybody. He's not outperforming anybody. Who are you fucking kidding? Come on, man. Like, I'm not gonna even assume that you're even looking at ultimates, right? I'm gonna literally look at Savage, right? Savage, DPS. And we're looking, again, if you want to understand your job properly, if you want to have a proper idea of your job, you're going to be looking at max percentiles because you want to understand the performance of jobs at their maximum performance. Our DPS, machinist, is nothing. In a DPS, sure, maybe. Machinist is going to be better than Bard or Dancer because they don't do ADPS, they do RDPS that compensate for their lack of damage. But like in a team with other DPS plus tanks plus healers and other RDPS, people are going to prefer more RDPS, especially more consistent one, than just a physical range with an extra defensive. It just doesn't make sense otherwise. So this is just a bullshit ranking. I don't know where the fuck he even took this out.
So I guess the job
I get that you want to pad your own main job a bit and say how much it's better than the other ones, but what the fuck? It's Machinist is just not the power meta right now. There is a reason Physical Range are quitting the fucking game.
changes did in fact do something for the job, which means the lone wolf machinist is always ahead of its role competition, while Bard and Dancer shine in a heavily optimized party scenario. So basically,
Heavy optimized scenario. No. Like, if there's a reason to bring a machinist, if we're talking specifically about the meta rankings, specifically, again, it's like, I'm not being picky, he names these lists themselves, power and meta rankings. If we're specifically talking about the meta, people don't bring machinist to... Oh, how would I even fucking explain this at this point? Like, machinist is going to be in an optimized environment. If, for example, you have other RDPS and you need someone who actually pumps just straight damage instead of RDPS, because too much RDPS can also be a bit harmful for a team that does nothing but RDPS. Because if you're all buffing each other, someone needs to do the big fucking damage. Obviously, it's going to be better if it's a samurai or a viper or a ninja, right? Or a monk. But it's like, if you have to fucking pick something, you're gonna pick a machinist. But as a power meta ranking, Bard and Dancer are gonna fucking be on top. They should literally be A or S rank. Not because I play Bard. But because like the amount of utility and because how consistent their buffing can be and what a big difference you can see with it.
choose which composition you're dealing with or prefer. Now to the rain I mentioned. Yes, Summoner and Red Mage did receive some buffs that actually do have measurable impact, but the gap between them and the top performing Pictomancers are nuts. It's not even the
He's just gonna be talking about damage again.
ADPS difference that worries me, but how much
ADPS.
it still buffs alongside having...
Like, all three jobs buff the group. Why would ADPS worry you? Why? Especially for jobs that buff themselves as well.
the straight power lead over the two. The only argument one could...
Pictomancer has a power lead over fucking everyone right now. I don't think it's that important.
lead is that the Red Mage and Summoner still have raising, and I have to say, even when Savage is out for quite a while, there are situations where this aspect can be the difference between a clear or having to go for another try.
I mean, I get that raising is a very good, comfortable thing to have in raids. I genuinely understand. Like, I'm not gonna be the person to tell you, no, just don't die for it. I get it. Having an extra res is so fucking comfortable mid-pool. You are not stressing as much. But you're gonna want to do some more damage. It's cool that you can waste a quarter of your mana to raise someone who's dead, but you're gonna, like, the rest is gonna play a lot less of a role if we're talking, for example, the last raid fight, not the first three, Desperius, the last raid fight, or the ultimate fight. Someone dead, that's a failed pull. Doesn't matter. Because the mechanics at the moment in Fru are, someone dies, chances are 3 other people are gonna get a damage down. 90%. 90 fucking percent. Over 90 fucking percent damage down. You're not doing any damage. you're not reaching the DPS check anymore. It's not working, I'm sorry. So reses are great, but like for the one moment where you could potentially res someone instead of your healers, nah, it doesn't play that much value. It's not gonna be the meta to have a res.
So I would always prefer that over raw damage advantages. However, it's simply too massive and only the Black Mage can follow that path with its insane ADPS output that is becoming even more in line with Samurai and Viper than before. Maybe due to the double ley lines that have been added in 7.1. So to sum it up, personally and with a bias, I would always put Summoner and Red Mage at least on A, but only the Red Mage can make it to that spot by leading the pack of non-melees and non-broken caster powerhouses. Summoner though finding itself inside the range.
Sorry, what the fuck did he just say?
For another try. So I would always prefer that over raw damage advantages. However, it's simply too massive and only the Black Mage can follow that path with its insane ADPS output that is becoming
So can Picto. Believe it or not, you just showing a picture without actually the information up and top and bottom doesn't mean shit. The difference here is not that big that someone would pick a Black Mage over Pictomancer. Hell, if you check the number of people that clear... You know what, I'll fucking check it for you. It's okay, Despairs, sit down, I'll check it for you. Yeah, how many people have cleared? This is the number of parses, meaning how many people have cleared. Or also recleared, I guess, as well. But, like, you can see that people are less likely to pick up a Black Mage. This is also, by the way, all percentile. I'm playing by your game right now. I'm not talking about max percentile. This is all percentile. This is everyone's picks. People would rather pick a fucking Pictomancer than a Black Mage. ADPS? Sure, why not? I don't know what you're looking at, why Despairs, but your stats are not correct. I have no idea where you dug this shit out. If we're specifically talking about meta rankings of Fru. Like, there's just not enough Black Mages to even have a parse. Do you see the amount of Pictomancers clearing this fight? Nobody wants. Wait, hold on. Maybe you check this. I don't know. Where do I even find the stats you're looking at? Maybe he's looking at Savage. That might be actually a good point. Hold on. All of them. Statistics. Okay. Black Mage. Yeah. Let's go. There's actually still more fucking Pictomancers than Black Mages. This is RDPS. Hold on. You're right. Okay, so I'm assuming this is what he's looking at specifically right now. He's probably looking at Black Mage higher than Pictomancer in ADPS on Savage.
Even more in line with Samurai and Viper than before. Maybe due to the double ley lines that have been added in 7.1. So to sum it up, personally and with a bias, I would always put Summoner and Red Mage at least on A, but only the Red Mage can make it to that spot by leading the pack of non-melees and non-broken caster powerhouses. Summoner though finding it...
What do you mean lead them? What does that mean? Because it has a res, or... I don't understand, like, what's the explanation here?
...itself inside the ranged physical roster. Black Mage on the other hand feels quite adequate besides Dragoon, Samurai and the others. While Pictomancer is still overtuned, it's just not enough Black Mage to justify its DPS outcome, and it's preferred by nearly
yeah. So why are we even comparing the two?
all parties over the other casters, if they can choose between those picks. But like I told you, it's just my personal ranking, so feel free to correct me or
Please correct your fucking titles then. Stop clickbaiting this. Or at least have this fucking disclaimer at the start of the video. These rankings are just my opinion. Otherwise, there's gonna be a lot of fucking new players bamboozled by the fucking meta rankings, and they're gonna level something that is actually garbage.
disagree in the comments. Last but definitely not least, the healers. The same trend seems to be applying on this role too.
I'm preparing myself mentally.
Which pushes Astrologen into a clear rank.
Okay.
Above the others due to its supporting value on offensive output. Furthermore, I received lots of comments on my last tier list.
Are you not gonna show the ADPS? You showed the one fucking full-on RDPS healer in RDPS section and call it a day. What the fuck do you what? I'm sorry, fucking what? Wait, hold on. Is he gonna show ADPS?
Is that Astrologen is actually a sleeper behind all that, and performs astronomically when it comes to tricky situations or keeping its party in the game. That combined with Sage taking all the high notes on raw healing output, this would make a perfect combination for the top healer duo.
But they're not the top healer duo. Astro Scholar are. Hell, Sage Scholar are. What do you mean?
Scholar and White Mage respectively take a step behind them, but both also have some good arguments why playing them might be the right choice.
What? Wait, hold on. God, I should keep FF logs just pinned. I feel like I keep visiting it every time. Okay, so let's say he's checking Savage, right? He is checking Savage. Statistics. Okay, so he's looking at specifically healing, right? Okay, so Sage does and Scholar do a lot of healing because they would be essentially just OGCD healing. They have a lot more OGCD buttons than these two. That is essentially correct, right? As max percentiles, that is also the case, right? All-star healers, DPS, healer damage. There you go. Astro, doesn't matter. ADPS. If we're looking specifically at healer damage, we're not looking at our DPS, because then you're stealing DPS from other fucking jobs. That's not fair. If we're looking specifically at the damage that the healers are bringing, we're looking specifically at a DPS. Because buffs do not fucking matter for healers. They do not do enough damage to keep buffing themselves, meaning the rankings will be based specifically on how much damage they get from their team. So our DPS is not going to be a very fair assessment. Like, make no mistake, our DPS is very important. It's very strong. In the right composition, it's going to be Omega strong. But, let's be fair, they don't do enough damage to fucking justify immediately announcing that Astro wins because our DPS is highest. Now, let's go max. Still the same. Scholar even does more damage than Astro.
White Mage still being the best healer to start into healing in general, and Scholar having tons of utility and still shining on HPS numbers. So Sage and Astro to S and the others into A+. And that's it again.
What? Astro and Sage to S? They didn't even explain why. Because they do most healing? Is that why? Because sorry, hold on. So the power meta ranking is Sage because it does a lot of fucking healing, and Astro because it does a lot of RDPS compared to the other three. Are we gonna ignore the rest of the fucking team? Even in a dungeon composition. Oh. Like, that is a lot less arguments than you gave these jobs and you put them at A or A minus. Also, we don't need to be polite. It's like we don't need the plus and minus. You can just give them a C and D. But whatever.
I feel like this is probably the best balancing we have seen for a long time. And splitting them into half tiers is the only choice that I think works for how close all jobs are in Final Fantasy. If Tuesday brings with more changes to the balancing, I will of course create a new tier list and update this one here. But that does depend on whether we have multiple targets or not. Because if that happens, Pigdomancer must be nerfed, or it...
Like, he put all physical range on the lowest. Because physical range, not enough damage, I'm guessing. Not enough sustain, but caster can res. A. Everything, like, half of these things don't even have an argument about them. There's like no explanation why this is the meta ranking or why they're being ranked like this. The rankings should be like contribution or like potency in raid, like combined potency, damage, and healing, or mitigation, anything. Like all of that, all of those aspects play like a big fucking role. Like I don't know. This is like a very depressing kind of tier list. Like some of these things are in the correct spot, but they're in the correct spot for the really weird fucking argument. So if little Timmy is gonna look at this, look at Dark Knight and think, they don't do enough healing or don't have a range rotation like Paladin, I'm not gonna play Dark Knight now. I'm gonna play one of these tanks. Fucking like he said some good things about Black Mage but they were like very vague Black Mage things. Black Mage can do a good job. Cool. Why? I don't know. This is actually making me depressed.
It's a slot obligation. Nevertheless, it's a good look on the meta right now, and still we can rejoice in desire to see it improved for the next patches. But like always, let me know your personal thoughts and rankings inside the comment section. And while I'm not able to answer all of your comments, I'm at least reading them. Thank you for watching and have a great ultimate proc or just fun watching it. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep loving Final Fantasy.
I don't know why he does it. Like, I get it, he wants to be a smarty pants and make videos like this. Well, like, he's done this before. Like, he steals content already. He steals videos, he steals entire FanFest segments. Sure, I get it. But why is it so hard to actually steal correct information? Like, I get it. Like, I've checked. He's not on ERC. He's not on balance for some fucking reason. All the places that he recommends himself to check, he's not on there. He doesn't check the utility or the... like, there's no confidence behind his information. I checked his, like, his lodestone. He hasn't even leveled the jobs to even, like, compare the rotation or, like, why they could be useful. So just throwing out these jobs are A ranked because they got defensives. Like, what? Is that all they have? That it? Anything? What's next? Monk is gonna be lower tiered because it doesn't have a ranged attack. This is such a weak sauce, like, tier list. It's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I'll admit some of them are in the right spot, but he just doesn't fucking explain why they're there. He just kind of just puts them in places for shits and giggles. And compares them on all percentile. So, little Timmy watching this video right now, he understands that he contributed to the decision why other people are picking certain jobs because of this tier list. Little Stevie looks at little Timmy parsing green and he thinks, I should also play machinist. That looks like a bitching job. Oh, what a shit video.